Check out what came in the mail. Now, I don't know what this will power or not, but we'll try to overload it. And according to the manufacturer, it has overload protection built in. We're gonna double check that. This is a portable power station from MAXOAK Bluetti, and it's model AC50. Now, they sent this to me at no cost for the purpose of doing a review for you guys. It arrived with no damage, nothing wrong. Looks like a carry case. Okay. Okay. And what's in the accessories? Well, we got some cables. This power supply says output at 27.5 volts and 3.25 amps. Well, it looks like some MC4 connectors and a barrel plug. A barrel plug with a cigarette lighter, so I guess you can recharge this from your car. And a USB-C charging cord. That's actually what I have on my new phone here, is USB-C. Alright, here's the unit. It's a sleek little package. Let's go ahead and turn it on. So it was shipped with 80% battery. And first let's try some of these DC things. There's supposed to be wireless charging up here, and my phone has that ability, so let's go ahead and put it on and see what happens. Yep, so it is charging. So that works. Alright, now I guess we'll try this guy. This is supposed to be fast charging. It's a USB-C. We'll see if it charges rapidly, which is what it can do. Yep, so it charges rapidly. So it is getting the high amp charge through this port. So that's cool. Now there's a couple of 12 volt outlets. This one, that's just your kind of old-fashioned cigarette lighter port, is up to 10 amps and 3 amps for these guys. Now according to the manual, these 12 volt ports will vary between 9.6 volts and 12.6 volts. Since this is a lithium-ion battery, that tells me that the battery must be arranged in a 3S configuration. It's supposed to be a 500 watt-hour battery. And then we have some AC ports. These things have 300 watt continuous rating and 450 watt surge for less than 1 second. It specifically said don't try to run things like an air conditioner off of this because of the high surge. But let's go ahead and power up a couple of other things here. Oh yeah, there's also a light on the back for those of you that are interested with 3 settings. Now DC off. I like that the display has those words actually written in there, so you're not just having that little LED. The DC input is 14 to 40 volts and 10 amps max. In the manual it says don't exceed the input of 120 watts, which is too bad because I have a solar panel that's 365 watts. It would have been fun to plug that in and see if it could charge it, but I just plugged in this wall charger again. I had it plugged in yesterday and it showed 100%. Then I took the charger off overnight. It's now the next day. I plugged it in again and it looks like it's adding a little bit more watts. So I just want to make sure that this gets absolutely fully charged. Then we'll do a capacity test on it. So about 15 minutes later, and we have a green light on the power supply. The 100% is not flashing anymore and 0 watts going in. So the battery is completely charged, 100%. We'll go ahead and take the power supply out. And now we're going to do a capacity test on this. These are nifty meters, and I actually burned out my last one, so I bought another one. But they're watt-hour meters, and this particular one I picked up because it has a battery. All right, so I just pulled out this plastic tab. Now the battery should store our data. So even if this device shuts off its AC output when it drops to 0%, this should save our number in it. Now according to the manual, this has a 500 watt-hour battery, but it only has a 90% depth of discharge, which means it's going to leave 10% of the battery remaining. If that works, we should get 450 watt-hours. on this device. However, there's going to be some loss in the inverter itself from heat, so it's going to wind up being something less than 450 watt hours. But we're going to find out how close to 450 watt hours we can get. AC on. 120 volts, 60 hertz. And there's the kilowatt hour meter. So now we can see our watts for our draw and our cumulative kilowatt hours. Here's a bunch of shop lights. So if you want to light up your construction site, this is a way to do it. Oh, I can even plug in this LED lights. Hey, so that kicked on at 71 watts of lights here. And, well, it looks like the meters agree with each other as far as how many watts they're consuming. So if you're doing a remodel and you need to light up a room, this might be a good option for you. Let's see how long this lasts. So I'm going to turn off the camera and we'll come back after this dies. Just past 100 watt hours. Still going. Well, we're still moving along with the test. As you can see, we're over 3 hours, 257 watt hours. It's still showing 50%. So it looks like the test is doing really good. This thing is powering all these lights. So we'll keep on going. The fan's running. 4 hours and 20 minutes. We're still at just over 80 watts and 350 watt hours. The fan has started to make this little extra noise. It's not just air movement anymore. And the system is now off. Now we can take this and hopefully if the battery saved, and we can see that we consumed 410 watt hours and it ran for 5 hours. So it ran all of these lights for 5 hours, 410 watt hours out of it. Now the battery is listed as 500 watt hours, 90% depth of discharge. I assume that's probably limited by whatever BMS is built into this to protect the battery. So that's a potential of 450 watt hours. We drew 410, which means we were 91% efficient for the inverter that is supplying these. The 40 watt hours that we did not get was consumed by the inverter inefficiency in the fan on this guy. But that's okay, that's to be expected. That's a lot of lights we were able to power, so instead of running big compact fluorescents, you ran some LEDs in there. You might be able to pull that longer, but not bad. You know, that's pretty good. 91% efficient inverter. And I just plugged it in so it can recharge. And we're down here because we know the battery's completely dead, and it looks like we can pull 85 watts from this power supply. So at 85 watts, should be another 5 hours to recharge or so.
It's charging.
We have 2 laptops and we have the cell phone all being charged off this at the same time. So we're just running off battery power. Looks like we've got 65 watts going to the laptops and 3 watts going to the cell phone. But yeah, we'll be able to run, boy, at this rate, maybe more than 6 hours. Yeah, more than 6 hours off this. And I pulled the fridge out just a little bit. It's a full-size fridge. And I went and plugged it in right here. And I turned down the temperature so the fridge is off right now. Or turned down the knob. I turned on the light in the back just because it looks kind of cool. Now I very much doubt that this little tiny thing will be able to turn the compressor on for the fridge. But it'll be fun to try. So let's go ahead and watch this. Now Elena's going to open it up and turn on the knob and crank that up. And as she does it, let's watch. Go ahead, crank it all the way up.
Nope.
Oh, it overloaded. Darn. We are going to try charging this portable power station off of this solar panel.
And today is a terrible day for a solar project. It's actually misting on us a little bit, but it's the best day I have this week, so it's what we're going to use.
This portable power station can take a maximum of 120 watts. This solar panel is 158 watts, but it's so drizzly out today that there's no way we're going to hit 158 watts on this panel. I've connected the cables up just to a couple of clamps, and then the clamps go to this cigarette lighter, and this is the adapter that came with the power station, and we're going to plug it in. But you can see the open circuit voltage is 27.8, so we're not exceeding the 40 volts open circuit voltage that this is rated for. So we're going to go ahead and plug it in. So it's at 25, 24 volts, and this is charging at 10 watts.
Now this cool little kit comes with an MC4 adapter, but this old panel is actually using MC3 connectors. So what I'm doing is just using some little clamps, and I'm going to a 12 volt accessory plug, or used to be called cigarette lighter.
Now remember, if this was a real sunny day, this panel would exceed the rating of this, which is a maximum of 120 watts. So getting a 100 watt panel with MC4 connectors so it can plug directly in, that would be ideal. Here's a test I've really been looking forward to doing. We're going to check the output of the inverter with an oscilloscope. We're going to try it under load with a couple of battery chargers. I have a Milwaukee and DeWalt and a couple of shop lights. And I've really been looking forward to doing this. So here we go. Just turn this on. And then turn on the AC output. And I'm going to plug it all in with this power strip. So here we go. And we'll turn the power strip on. And immediately those two shop lights turned on. These guys are still off. The two shop lights together are drawing 32 watts. And now we'll throw on our battery charger. There's the Milwaukee. Oh, and the fan just kicked on. And our DeWalt. Both of these batteries need some juice. And you can see that starting to flash. And this is red, so both of those are charging. Let's see what we're doing. 200 watts. Okay, and we have 118.7 volts AC. And now let's go ahead and check the hertz. We have 60.06. Good North American power. Alright, so now let's check the sine wave. So we'll go ahead and turn this oscilloscope on. And I've got the oscilloscope also plugged in to the same power strip. So when the oscilloscope powers up, this is going to get going. So now all we have to do is connect this little hook up to that output, and we'll see the sine wave going. So let's go ahead and auto scale. Now we can see what it's doing. This is a 300 watt inverter. We're less than 300 watts. I know that there's a button on here that stops it. If I press this button, it will freeze frame. So there's the freeze frame. Let's try it again. Look at that bump. So I don't know why it's going back and forth like that. So if I take the two lights off, drop us down to 201 watts, play this again, it still looks like it's jumping back and forth. So maybe, yeah, see, it still, if I freeze frame it there, still odd. So let's go ahead and turn the lights back on. Maybe it was the battery chargers. So we'll pop these two battery chargers out. 53 watts. So the oscilloscope draws very little. If I freeze it, well, let's freeze it and take a closer look. I think one of these knobs zooms in here. Alright, so you can see those steps that the inverter is making. Oh. So the sine wave is bouncing around, but admittedly I might be using something wrong on the oscilloscope. Maybe there's a setting that I haven't done correctly, but I'm just showing you guys what I'm seeing. So we know this device does power everything. It does power the lights, the battery chargers, laptops, cell phones, but that sine wave's not absolutely perfect. So potentially if you have a really sensitive piece of electronic, that might bother that piece of electronic that you're using, but you'll have to be the judge for yourselves. The only other thing to test on this portable power station is the 12-volt accessory plug, commonly known cigarette lighter. Now I was trying to think, what do I have that can plug in here? And I have plenty of cell phone chargers, but if you wanted a USB port, well, there's USB ports already built in. So I wanted to power it with something else. And the only other thing that I own is this air pump for blowing up air mattresses. So if you go car camping and you want to plug it in, Eleanor, you want to press the button. Go ahead, press the button on it. Yeah, it's a fan. So that works fine. Good job, Eleanor. All right. The 12-volt port works, at least for something as simple as a fan. Well, I'm curious how this thing is built. So let's find out. There's this rubber on here. And it looks like the rubber has some little spots of glue. So right there you can see those dabs of glue. So I'm just pulling this off. I think the manufacturer told me that these rubber colors are going to be replaceable in the future, so they're not going to be glued on. You're just going to be able to pick what color you want. And off. So the handles can come off. Oh, something fell loose in there when I took those handles off. Must be some kind of bracket that held this on. There we go, we got it. Okay, all 4 screws are out. So it looks like each side is a cover plate that got snapped on. So let's go ahead and try to snap those off. There's 1, 2. Okay, so there's a cover, and it's funny, these tabs here face outward, these tabs face inward. So yeah, this package really does not want to come apart once they've snapped it all together. There we go. Alright, so our covers are off, our handles are off, and we've revealed some more screws on these fans. Alright, so there's a fan on this side, no fan over here. And given that thing bouncing around, I probably should not have taken the handle off, but oh well. Yes! Awesome! We got it! Okay, we got some cords. Okay, so this was the aluminum bracket that held the handles on. So there was no need to take this off. Yeah, so definitely don't have to take that bracket off. That gives me my wireless charging for my cell phone. So let's go ahead and pry that off. There. Alright, so we got that off. We have a fan here, and this little bracket behind the fan that gave the screws some threads to bite into. They have brass inserts. I see that they did use a bunch of that white glue all over there to try to hold things in place. That's good. Hopefully keep things from rattling around. It looks like the base is filled with 18650s. Those are the lithium cells. Yep, so it says 18650 on there. And nice big fat cables here coming up from the battery. Looks like they have an aluminum heat sink. Oh, and there's some MOSFETs down there. And it looks like a bunch of MOSFETs are sandwiched against that aluminum heat sink. So that should be good for heat dissipation. Yeah. Let's move this fan. We might be able to see something on the cells. It says they're LXD. I hope everybody enjoyed this review of the MAXOAK Bluetti AC50 portable power station. I think they did a good job advertising it. It's exactly what they say it is. You have a powerful lithium battery with inverters and chargers and lights and all this stuff kind of built into a nice little package. So it's simple and easy to use. You can charge cordless tool batteries, you can run laptops all day long with this. But recognize its limits. This is not going to be a whole house backup. You're not going to be able to run corded power tools off of this. Now, I don't know if this is going to be the right fit for you, but I hope this detailed review gives you the knowledge to make your own decision about whether or not this fits your needs. So thank you everybody very much for watching the review. Please like, subscribe, comment, share, and check out the links in the description below, including the Patreon page. That really does help out the channel a lot. Thank you very much. Now, as a comparison, you can look at this. It's a 5 amp hour, 18 volt, so that's a 90 watt hour battery. So you need 5 of them. Now, if you want to light up your job site, here's an example. $80 for that light or $400 for that light, but then you need batteries on top of it. So these LED shop lights look like a great deal. They're 25 watts for $26. So you can see if you buy separate shop lights and plug them into that portable station, it's a lot cheaper.